NASA engineers are speechless. Axiom Space just dropped a bombshell. A fully completed module that shouldn't exist until 2030 is sitting in their facility right now. They've scrapped their entire 2025 launch plan because they discovered something that changes everything. The race against China just became life or death for America's space dominance. What forced Axiom to abandon years of planning overnight? The answer will blow your mind. Let's dive right in. Here's the moment that changed everything. January 15th, 2025. NASA engineers walked into Axiom's Houston facility for a routine inspection. What they found sitting in Bay 2 made their jaws drop. A fully completed multi-purpose logistics module, gleaming under the industrial lights, ready for space. This module wasn't supposed to exist until 2030. The official timeline had it listed as future development. But there it was, 4.2 meters in diameter, 6.7 meters long, weighing 15,000 kilograms of pure American space engineering. The NASA team couldn't believe what they were seeing. "How is this possible?" one engineer whispered. The answer would shock the entire space industry. 3 weeks earlier, intelligence reports started flooding into NASA headquarters. Russia was preparing to withdraw from the International Space Station program, potentially as early as March 2025. Not 2030 as planned, March 2025. If Russia pulls out, the ISS becomes a death trap. Without Russian Soyuz capsules for emergency evacuation, without Russian Progress cargo ships for resupply, without Russian attitude control systems, the station would spiral into uncontrolled descent within months. America would lose its only foothold in space overnight. Every experiment, every research project, every astronaut mission, gone. The Chinese would be alone up there, claiming victory in the ultimate high ground. Axiom Space saw this catastrophe coming months before anyone else. While NASA was still hoping for diplomatic solutions, Axiom was secretly building lifeboats. Here's where Axiom made their most brilliant and terrifying decision. They completely scrapped their original launch sequence. HAB-1, their crew habitat module, was supposed to launch first in 2025. It's been ready for months, sitting in final testing. But Axiom said no. Instead, they're rushing the PPTM, the Payload Power Thermal Module, to the front of the line. This decision cost them $847 million in schedule changes and manufacturing retooling. Why would they burn that much money? Because the PPTM isn't just a power module. It's a complete life support system packed into 18 tons of cutting-edge technology. Built by Thales Alenia Space in Turin, Italy, it contains 47 different subsystems, 12,000 individual components, and the most advanced thermal regulation system ever created for space. With HAB-1 and PPTM together, Axiom Station can operate completely independently. No Russian support, no political complications, no backup plans needed. Just pure American space dominance, floating 400 kilometers above Earth. But here's the terrifying part. Intelligence sources suggest Axiom only has until August 2025 to get these modules in orbit. After that, the ISS becomes too unstable to support construction operations. Remember that mystery module in Axiom's facility? It gets even stranger. Satellite imagery from December 2024 shows Axiom's Houston complex was completely empty. No modules, no major components, just assembly bays and manufacturing equipment. 6 weeks later, a completed MPLM appears like magic. How do you build a space-qualified module in 6 weeks? The answer lies in Axiom's most closely guarded secret, parallel manufacturing. While everyone thought Axiom was building modules one at a time, they were secretly running 4 parallel production lines. HAB-1 in Bay 1, PPTM components in Bay 2, research and manufacturing facility parts in Bay 3, and the mystery MPLM in a hidden Bay 4 that didn't officially exist until last month. This approach required 3,400 specialized workers, $2.1 billion in advanced manufacturing equipment, and production techniques borrowed from Tesla's gigafactories. Each module uses 847 custom-machined titanium components, 15 kilometers of specialized wiring, and thermal protection systems that cost $50,000 per square meter. The result? Axiom can now produce space station modules at a rate nobody thought possible. While competitors need 18 months per module, Axiom is targeting 6 months. It's like comparing handcrafted furniture to automotive assembly lines. While America has been struggling with ISS politics and budget constraints, China has been quietly building an empire in space. Their Tiangong station isn't just operational, it's thriving beyond anyone's expectations. Right now, 3 Chinese astronauts are conducting 127 different experiments in zero gravity. They're growing perfect protein crystals for pharmaceuticals, manufacturing fiber optic cables impossible to create on Earth, and testing technologies that could revolutionize everything from computer chips to medical devices. Even more alarming, China just announced plans to expand Tiangong from 70 tons to 180 tons by 2027. They're adding manufacturing modules, research laboratories, and permanent crew quarters for up to 12 astronauts. If Axiom doesn't launch soon, America could find itself looking up at a Chinese-dominated sky. The implications are staggering. Scientific breakthroughs, military reconnaissance capabilities, asteroid mining rights, satellite deployment advantages, all controlled by Beijing. Pentagon analysts estimate that Chinese space dominance could shift global power dynamics more dramatically than nuclear weapons did in the 1950s. The next superpower won't be determined by armies or navies. It'll be determined by who controls orbit. Just when Axiom thought they had a clear path to victory, a company called Vast Space emerged from stealth mode and dropped a bombshell. They're launching Haven 1, their first commercial space station module, in August 2025. Not 2027, not 2028. August 2025. Haven 1 is small, just 8 meters long and 3.8 meters in diameter, but it's also brilliant in its simplicity. No complex multi-phase construction, no dependency on the ISS, no international partnerships to navigate, just launch, deploy, and start operations. If VAST succeeds, they'll beat Axiom to market by potentially 2 years, claiming the title of first fully commercial space station. Worse yet, NASA is reportedly considering splitting their commercial station funding between Axiom and VAST, potentially cutting Axiom's budget in half. How did this happen? How did an unknown company suddenly leapfrog ahead of Axiom's years of preparation? The answer involves SpaceX, Starlink integration, and a development approach that's either genius or completely reckless. VAST's entire station fits inside a single Falcon Heavy fairing. Their life support systems are simplified to the extreme. Their crew capacity is limited to 4 people maximum. They're essentially launching a space RV while Axiom is building a space city. Here's a connection most people are missing. Axiom isn't just using SpaceX for launches. They're integrating their entire operation into SpaceX's ecosystem in ways that could reshape the entire space industry. Every Axiom module will launch on Falcon Heavy rockets, using proven hardware and established procedures. Every crew rotation will use Dragon capsules, leveraging SpaceX's unmatched safety record. Every communication link will run through Starlink satellites, providing global coverage and unprecedented bandwidth. But the integration goes deeper. Axiom's thermal management systems are adapted from Dragon's environmental controls. Their docking mechanisms are modified versions of Dragon's berthing systems. Even their emergency escape protocols are based on Dragon's abort procedures. This level of integration means Axiom Station isn't just America's answer to China's Tiangong. It's Elon Musk's vision of commercial space dominance made real. And it explains why SpaceX has been quietly supporting Axiom's development with $400 million in technical services and manufacturing support. While vast space is still theoretical and China's Tiangong operates in isolation, Axiom has one massive advantage: real operational experience with 157 person days in space across 4 crewed missions. Their most recent flight, Axiom 4, lasted 20 days and broke records for international cooperation, flying astronauts from 4 different nations. But these missions aren't just diplomatic successes. They're intensive data collection programs. Every Axiom astronaut returns with terabytes of operational data. How do life support systems behave during solar storms? What happens when multiple crews overlap during shift changes? How do emergency procedures work when international politics are involved? Which equipment failures cause the most mission risk? This knowledge is being directly incorporated into Axiom Station's design. They know exactly which backup systems are critical and which are redundant. They understand crew psychology during long-duration missions. They've tested emergency procedures under real-world conditions. Think of it this way. Vast is building a sports car they've never test-driven. China is operating in isolation without real-world feedback. And Axiom is building a vehicle they've been racing and refining for years. Here's where Axiom's strategy becomes truly risky. They're planning something that's never been attempted in the history of spaceflight, building a space station in 2 phases while transitioning from supported to autonomous operation. Phase 1 involves attaching modules to the ISS, using NASA's station as a construction platform and power source. Phase 2 involves physically separating from the ISS using explosive bolts and automated separation systems, then operating completely independently while the ISS either continues operating or is deorbited. The engineering challenges are immense. How do you design life support systems that can function both as ISS extensions and as independent stations? How do you manage the transition from shared power systems to autonomous power generation? What happens if the separation procedure goes wrong and damages both stations? NASA engineers are privately terrified about this approach. Computer simulations show a 23% chance of catastrophic failure during separation, potentially destroying both Axiom Station and damaging the ISS. But they're also fascinated because success would prove a construction model that could be used for lunar bases, Mars outposts, and deep space exploration platforms. Every piece of this puzzle is racing toward a crucial 18-month window starting in January 2027. That's when Axiom plans to launch the PPTM module, followed by HAB 6 months later, creating the foundation of America's first commercial space station. But the pressure is beyond intense. Russia could exit the ISS program at any moment, potentially stranding American astronauts or forcing emergency evacuations. China continues expanding Tiangong every month, adding new capabilities and claiming new achievements. Vast Space could beat Axiom to market with Haven 1, stealing the first commercial station title and potentially half of NASA's funding. Technical setbacks could cascade into program-ending disasters. A single major component failure could delay launches by years. Budget cuts could force program cancellations. International incidents could complicate launch permissions and crew rotations. The stakes are so high that Pentagon officials have quietly designated Axiom Station as critical national infrastructure. Its success or failure could determine whether America maintains space leadership for the next 50 years or watches China claim the ultimate high ground. But what if everything we think we know about Axiom's timeline is wrong? What if the completed MPLM and accelerated PPTM schedule are just the visible pieces of a much larger strategy that nobody has figured out yet? What if Axiom is preparing for something even more ambitious than anyone realizes? So here we are. Axiom Space has shocked NASA engineers, flipped their entire strategy, and revealed modules that shouldn't exist for years. They're racing against time, China's expanding dominance, and surprise competitors like Vast Space. The next 18 months will determine who controls the future of human civilization in space. But here's what keeps me up at night. What if that mystery MPLM module isn't just a logistics unit? What if Axiom's real plan goes far beyond replacing the ISS? The Pentagon has classified this as critical national infrastructure for a reason. The space race isn't just heating up, it's about to explode. And we're going to cover every twist, every breakthrough, every shocking revelation as it happens. Because the decisions being made right now in Houston, Beijing, and Washington will echo through the next century. What do you think Axiom is really planning? Are they building a space station or something much bigger? Drop your theories below, and if this blew your mind, smash that subscribe button. The future of space is happening now, and you don't want to miss what comes next. The countdown has begun. SpaceX just exposed Russia's $67 million disaster. Mystery glue, 60-plus criminal cases, rockets falling apart, yet they claim to build space weapons? Elon reveals the shocking truth behind Russia's collapse from space superpower to begging China for help. The real reason will blow your mind. Let's dive right in. Here's the bombshell SpaceX discovered that sent shockwaves through the entire aerospace industry. February 2021, Russia launches Progress MS-16 to the International Space Station. Mission-critical supplies, routine operation. What could go wrong? Everything. The spacecraft couldn't dock automatically. Russian ground control frantically took manual control, guiding it in like a drunk pilot trying to land a plane. The navigation system was completely fried. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. The protective covering literally peeled off the rocket mid-flight, like cheap paint on a rusted car. The culprit? Mystery glue from an unknown supplier that nobody can trace. Get this, the contractor, KX Limited Joint Stock Company, doesn't even manufacture their own adhesive. They buy it from some random supplier, but here's the kicker. They have zero documentation. No quality certificates, no origin records, no expiration dates, nothing. Russia is launching billion-dollar rockets with garage sale quality control. But wait, it gets worse. This wasn't a one-time disaster. The exact same glue failure destroyed Progress, MS-13, MS-14, and MS-15. 4 consecutive failures with mystery adhesive, and Russian officials did absolutely nothing. This is when SpaceX realized they weren't competing with a space superpower. They were watching a house of cards collapse in real time. But the glue scandal was just the tip of the iceberg. While Russian officials were threatening space weapons, SpaceX's industry intelligence uncovered the real story. Since 2019, over 60 criminal investigations launched against Russian space companies. The stolen amount? More than 5 billion rubles, $67.7 million vanished from their own space program. Think about this madness. Russia's entire annual space budget could fit inside SpaceX's quarterly coffee budget. And they're hemorrhaging millions to their own contractors while trying to compete with Elon Musk. Here's the pattern that shocked industry insiders. Russian space contractors routinely miss deadlines, deliver broken hardware, and pocket government money like it's Christmas morning. The Khrunichev Center was supposed to deliver 10 booster cores 5 years